Imagine waking up, not in your own bed, but in a narrow trench carved deep into the earth. The air is cold, your uniform is damp, and somewhere beyond the morning mist, artillery is already shaking the ground. For millions of soldiers during World War I, this wasn't an unusual morning. It was simply another day of survival inside a maze of trenches that stretched for hundreds of kilometers across Europe. After the First Battle of the Marne and the race to the sea, both armies dug into the ground. What began as temporary defenses soon became permanent homes for millions of men. These weren't simple ditches. They were carefully designed defensive systems with frontline trenches, support trenches, reserve trenches, and communication trenches, connecting them all. Every trench zigzagged for a reason. If enemy soldiers captured one section, the sharp bends prevented them from firing straight down the entire trench. Every corner could become another line of defense. But the trenches protected soldiers from bullets, not from nature. After heavy rain, the ground became a sea of thick mud that swallowed boots, flooded dugouts, and turned every step into a struggle. To keep their feet above the water, engineers laid wooden duckboards along the trench floor. Even then, days of relentless rain often left them completely underwater. Keeping dry became nearly impossible. Wet uniforms, soaked blankets, and freezing boots became part of everyday life. For many soldiers, comfort was no longer an expectation. It was a distant memory. As if the mud wasn't enough, the trenches had other, unwanted residents. Brown rats multiplied in astonishing numbers, feeding on discarded food and wherever fighting had left bodies, exposed before they could be recovered. Many soldiers woke during the night to find rats running across their blankets. Lice were an even more constant enemy. They hid inside uniforms and seams of clothing, causing relentless itching. No matter how carefully soldiers cleaned themselves, the lice always seemed to return. Standing for hours in cold, wet boots created another danger, a condition known as trench foot. Feet became swollen, numb, and painfully damaged. Officers ordered soldiers to change socks whenever possible and inspect each other's feet. Before the damage became permanent, food reached the front through narrow communication trenches. Soldiers often survived on bread, hard biscuits, tinned meat, jam, tea, and stew. Fresh food was rare, but even a warm meal could lift morale after days in the cold. Despite the hardship, life continued. Soldiers repaired sandbags, strengthened trench walls, cleaned their rifles, and carried supplies through the maze of communication trenches. Every task helped keep the line alive. Every morning before sunrise came one of the most important routines of trench life. It was called Stand To. Soldiers climbed onto the firing step, rifles loaded, watching the enemy through the mist, because commanders believed dawn was the most likely time for an attack. Sometimes, nothing happened. Minutes passed in complete silence. Every soldier stared into the fog, waiting for movement that might never come. Yet no one could afford to relax. Even during these quiet moments, danger was everywhere. Enemy snipers watched patiently for the smallest mistake. A helmet lifted too high, a careless glance above the parapet, or the flash of sunlight on a rifle barrel could be enough to reveal a soldier's position. If snipers were feared, artillery was dreaded. There was no warning. One moment, the trench was quiet. The next, the sky was filled with the terrifying whistle of incoming shells. The ground trembled beneath their boots. Mud, timber, and sandbogs flew through the air. Soldiers pressed themselves into dugouts, hoping the roof above them would survive the bombardment. When the shelling finally stopped, the silence felt even more frightening, because everyone knew what often came next: an attack. Beyond the trench lay no man's land, a devastated strip of earth, filled with shell craters, tangled barbed wire, shattered trees, and deep mud. Depending on the sector, it could stretch from only a few dozen meters to several hundred. After darkness fell, small patrols quietly climbed out of the trenches. Their mission might be to repair barbed wire, scout enemy positions, or listen for unusual activity. Every step had to be silent. A snapped branch, a loose stone, or the brief flash of a lantern could reveal their position. In the darkness, every sound seemed louder, and every shadow felt alive. Back inside the trenches, letters from home became priceless. A few handwritten pages could carry news of a newborn child, a successful harvest, or simply a reminder that someone was waiting for them. For a few precious minutes, the war seemed far away. Those letters reminded soldiers that beyond the mud, the shell fire, and the endless waiting, life still existed, even in the middle of war. Soldiers found reasons to laugh. They gave humorous nicknames to difficult situations, played cards during quiet hours, sang songs, and teased one another. Laughter couldn't end the war, but it helped them survive. Another day, whenever possible, units were rotated away from the front line. A few days in the support area meant dry clothes, cleaner beds, hot meals, and the rare chance to sleep without constant shell fire. But everyone knew the break would not last. Soon, they would return to the same muddy trenches, the same danger, and the same uncertain tomorrow. For many veterans, the war ended in 1918, but the memories did not. The smell of wet earth, the sound of shell fire, and the endless waiting remained with them for the rest of their lives. When people remember World War I, they often think of famous battles like Verdun or the Somme. But behind every battle were thousands of ordinary days spent enduring mud, cold, fear, and hope inside the trenches. Sometimes, the greatest act of courage wasn't charging across a battlefield. It was simply climbing onto the firing step every morning, knowing the danger that waited beyond the trench, and doing your duty anyway. Yet even in this world of mud and shell fire, something extraordinary was about to happen. As Christmas approached in 1914, the Samhain DEF gunfire began to fade in some sectors of the Western Front, replaced by something no one expected. In our next episode, we'll explore one of the most remarkable moments of World War I, when enemies laid down their weapons, stepped into no man's land, and shared a Christmas that history would never forget.